Right guys, here's my Janoel 10 Plus automatic incubator. It has pre-settings on the top where you can adjust the temperature. The settings can be a little hard to find and set, however I have tracked them down for you, so if you've got the same incubator, these are what you need to set your limits at. So HU is your upper limit, which needs to be at 35 degrees. HD, which is your down limit, needs to be set at 40. D7 is your average, which needs to be set at 30. LS is also at 30. HS is at 39.5. CA, which is your calibration, needs to be at 1 degrees. So if it's 1 degrees out, it'll compensate. And AH and AL are your alarms. So if it drops 0.5 above or below the set temperature, it will trigger an alarm, which is not audible, but it'll tell you on the top. Inside the instruction manual as well, it also tells you what you get. So basically you get the top, which is the white part, you get the circular window, and you get the bottom part, which is the turner, and the turner motor is situated in there. You also get these separators, which separates your eggs inside, and the ideal temperature to set it at is between 37.8 and 38 degrees, and as I said, it will compensate for 0.5 up or down if it goes out of that range basically. Inside you have got a thermometer on the top, however these cables are a little loose and they're not tied together, so potentially they could get caught in the turning wheel, which is at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some mini tie wraps to the cables and make sure that obviously they can't get trapped in the turning circle. It turns roughly about 4 times a day, so roughly about every 4 hours. You can't really see it turning, but it does turn. It has a water well in the middle, which can be seen there, and you top it up with roughly about 100 millilitres of water. It needs to be warm, and you need to check this about every 2 to 3 days. And roughly about day 18, 19-ish, you need to take the turning circle out and the partitions and just leave the eggs in lockdown for the remaining 2 to 3 days. Humidity needs to be roughly around about 55, but obviously when it is in lockdown you need to try and raise that limit to around about 65-70% humidity. But it may be difficult with just a single water well, so my advice to you is if you can't raise it, just then pop some sponges in which are wet to raise the humidity from around about 55 to around about 65-70% for the last 2 to 3 days. The instruction manual is pretty good. Tells you everything that you need to know. And it also tells you the limits, what the factory set them at. Which obviously you can leave them at the factory settings if you wish. But from people who's been using it and videos that I found, they suggest setting the limits to around about this range. So with it being a Janoel 10, that stands for 10 eggs. However, if you are hatching bantams, you would achieve roughly about 12 eggs. If you are hatching large fowl, then you would achieve roughly about 10 eggs. They are the vents at the top, which are always open. No need to change. Just a simple cable to your plug socket. Basically, once you set it, you can just get underway, and you adjust the temperature at the top or any settings by holding down that set button for around about 30 seconds. It goes into each menu, and then obviously you can set accordingly. When it is heating up, the work light will come on, and when it reaches temperature, the work light will go off, but obviously still run and hold its temperature. What I would advise is getting a separate hygrometer, which you can put in, a digital one or a mercury one, just to ensure that your temperature matches what it says on the top. If it doesn't, and obviously gives a different reading, then you can adjust it through the top. This is an inexpensive model, about £60 roughly, brand new, and it is similar to the Brinzy 10 automatic incubator, but just a fraction of the cost. Right, so I hope you find that useful, and time to get some eggs popped in.